even though 2020 was not the best year for most of us, we did get a lot of amazing video games. And it's kind of a weird year for me because video game wise, because there wasn't actually a ton of games I was really super excited about going into the year, like at the beginning of the year, looking at kind of upcoming games. But I ended up like playing and loving so many different types of games, as you will see throughout the night. So we will be giving out about a dozen different awards to all of my favorite games. The only rules here is that they had to come out in 2020. So like, I'm not going to give like Rocket League the award for best multiplayer, even though it probably was the multiplayer game I played the most. I'm not going to give Destiny 2 the best community game, even though it probably is my favorite game to play with the community. Because again, I'm really focusing on games that either came out in 2020 or like really were the first time most people played them in 2020. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Nate the Great, welcome. Glad you're here. And that is the other thing. I will only be giving awards to games that I have played. So yes, don't expect me to be giving out an award to your favorite Nintendo game this year, Animal Crossing, because I didn't play it. And I'm sure you guys had fun with it. I'm sure it's a great game. I know it's sold 26 million copies, but I'm not giving out awards here to games I did not play unless it gets voted on for the Community Game of the Year award. That is the part where you guys, the awesome community, all voted on your favorite game of the year. We tallied the votes. I closed the polls about an hour ago. And we do have a winner. So we will reveal that towards the end of the show, right before I reveal my personal game of the year as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys are here. Sundance says his acceptance speech is ready. Yeah, these are the non-rigged game awards. No one is paying me any money to to award any of these games. These are all just on my personal opinion. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, rip Animal Crossing. I'm already preparing you there. Don't expect Animal Crossing to win any awards. Welcome, Vaughn Hunter. So glad you're here. Sundance is judging me for not playing Animal Crossing, I guess. Oh, there. Windy Girl is going to be modding for us tonight. She's going to be recapping any of the awards. If the community votes Animal Crossing, does that mean you'll buy it and have to stream it? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not going to answer yes or no to that because I don't want to give any spoilers to what the community game of the year is. But yeah, there was actually a ton of different votes for different games for the community game of the year. So
that wasn't the answer. You say, will you buy the game that wins the community?
Well, I can't say if I'll buy it or not because I might already have it. I can't say.
Say if you don't already have it, you'll buy
All right.
it.
Anyways, we will go ahead and get started here. Our first, again, I have 12 different awards to give out here. So the first award that we're going to give out today goes to the best open world game. And so this is a category that I really thought of. There's so many games that have giant open worlds these days. If I'm being honest, like there's so many of them that it gets overwhelming. You have to kind of pick and choose which ones you're going to play. And so for me, this was my personal favorite world that I loved spending time in and just exploring, and just thought the world was so crafted so well. Hey, thank you so much, Horizon, for the resub. Woo, what is that, 6 months now? Ooh, just got yourself a new badge. Welcome back for the 6-month sub. Awards ceremony, and I know, doesn't wear the suit. I was thinking of wearing a suit, but then I didn't prep it ahead of time, and now my kids are sleeping, so I'm like, I'll just wear like my best of 2020, like Dodgers 2020 championship shirt. But yeah, sounds good. Diggs, I'll buy whatever the community game of the year one is, so I can play it. Anyways, our first award tonight goes to the best open world, and I'm glad Horizon Omen's here because I know he is a big fan of this game. And so our first award is going to Ghost of Tsushima, which is definitely my favorite open world to explore and spend time in. Every single part of this open world is just so finely crafted. All the different biomes throughout the different island look so different, with the different types of leaves and flowers, the wind effects. And even though it's not even technically a next-gen game on PS5, it still holds up and looks really, really good for it being, a PS4 game. The nice thing about the PS5 is that it does run the game in 60 frames per second, which is really nice as well, pretty smooth. But anyways, such fantastic game. I loved exploring it. The map has a lot of verticality to it. It's not just a flat map. So almost kind of Breath of the Wild in that way. You can't climb anything necessarily, but there's lots of different valleys, and the areas are all very different. And it just has lots of really good NPCs and quests, and just really motivates you to go off and explore and wander. Like I said, in a similar way to Breath of the Wild, and I say that because Breath of the Wild, I think, is the best open world game of all time. So again, as I'm giving out these awards, I would love you guys to be sharing your thoughts on my pick, or what you would give each one for your personal award. Where I want to hear your guys' opinions, and the awards are not edible. But yes, I haven't even locked the entire map yet of Ghost. I'm still pretty early on, because that's a game that you can spend over 80 hours in. I'm about 15-20 hours into the game, and I already love it. So Ghost of Tsushima is my award there. Again, drop in the chat if you have a different award that you want to give out for, or a different game you want to give for each award. Anyways, Nathan says, darn, I was hoping to eat my award. Ghost of Tsushima is good enough of an open world to win this award, with Ninja not even locking 2/3 of the map. I've unlocked at least half of the map. And yes, everything I've seen so far is amazing. I really want to explore it. Anyways, on with the show. Our next award is going to the best surprise game. So this is a game that was completely off my radar, had pretty much no, I wasn't looking forward to it. It wasn't on anyone's games of looking forward to of 2020. It came out of nowhere and just instantly made a big impact, and was one of my favorite games this year. And of course, I am talking about Fall Guys. And what a joy Fall Guys was. It came out on PS Plus, which was amazing, because literally every one of my friends who has a PS4 got this game, and we played it nonstop for the first month. It also helped that I just loved this game, and I was really good at getting crowns. So that first month I got 60 crowns, and just I got the platinum trophy for it. And so I have a lot of good memories just getting every trophy in that game when it first came out. And it's just such a genius game. It's like MXC mixed with a bunch of little minion jelly bean guys, and you could dress up different outfits. And they do so many fun promotional outfits to get you back in. And the seasonal updates, they do updates every 2 to 3 months, and they add a ton of new rounds and mix up the game a bunch. So this is gonna be a game I'm gonna keep playing regularly, I think, for the next, I don't even know how, probably at least the next year if they keep these updates going. So again, let me know in the chat if you have a best surprise game, or if you agree with my pick. Dick says Fall Guys died so fast, but yeah, it was a great surprise game. Definitely not as many people playing it as when it first came out, but I still jump into it every week or two, especially if I have some friends online there. It's a lot of fun to play with friends. And yeah, queue times are still really good, even though you find 60 players per match. Goes really quick. It's a great one. Vonheimer says it pulled a Rocket League, came out for free, and gameplay charmed everyone. Exactly. It's the Rocket League path to success. Yeah, so Fall Guys is still a lot of fun. Really like that game a bunch. Which reminds me, I need to do a stream for the new season. Maybe next week. All right. Our next award is going to, this was actually a category that was suggested by you guys, the community. And this is the best game that's under 3 hours. So I actually thought really hard about this one, because there's a couple shorter games that I played. And this is a game that you could play longer than 3 hours, but you can pretty much play through the entire game in under 3 hours. It's a very, very small game. And so the best game this year that came out that's under 3 hours that I recommend you guys all go check out is Part-Time UFO. And so this is a game made by HAL Laboratory, which is a smaller studio that makes games for Nintendo, best known for making the Kirby games, developing the Kirby games. And so this is basically a side project that they made. And you basically it's all 2D art. It looks very much like WarioWare, kind of Box Boy, very simplistic kind of 2D art. And you're a little UFO, and you just go around picking up items and doing little random things and favors for people to kind of raise money, because you want a part-time job because your UFO is stuck here on Earth. So you do everything from picking different vegetables out of gardens for farmers and loading them on trucks, to loading toy bins, to placing monkeys and elephants on a circus trapeze to make sure that it's balanced. So it's just a super fun little physics-based puzzle game. Really simple to play. I think it's only $10. And it is also one of my favorite co-op games of this year. I was kind of debating whether to give this the best co-op award or the best under 3 hours, so I decided to give it the best under 3 hour. But don't sleep on it. It's definitely definitely worth your time, especially if you're just wanting a very, very charming game that, you know, put a smile on your face and let you forget about all the other craziness or stress going in your life. And that is on Nintendo Switch, of course. Oh my goodness, I need to hydrate. Diggs, give me a hydrate. Part-Time UFO came out a few years ago. No, Part-Time UFO came out this year on the Switch. It was based off of, I think, some like WarioWare games or something like that. But it is a great game. Anyways, our next game that we are going to be giving out, our next award, is for the best technical showcase. And so this is a game that when I saw, I'm like, wow, like this is amazing. Like the technology that they put into this game, the graphics, like the way everything moves around. And this totally kind of switched with next gen coming out, so it's kind of unfair. My original pick for this game was going to be Doom Eternal because it runs so amazingly on the PS4 Pro. Like it's gorgeous, and like just technically it's really, really impressive. But then the PS5 came out, and I got a different game, and so I have to give Best Technical Showcase this year to Miles Morales, which is obviously the new Spider-Man game that launched on PS5. It is also available on PS4, and I haven't played that version, but on PS5 there is pretty much zero loading times in this game. And so this is a game that's really getting me excited about next gen and the future of next gen, because you will, in the original Spider-Man game, you would go into like hideouts and stuff, and you'd have to sit through a whole like 7 or 8 second loading screen. Then you'd play the whole hideout, and then when you wanted to leave the hideout, you'd crawl out, and you'd get another 7, 8 second loading screen. Miles Morales, you go into a hideout, you immediately open the door, you're right there. It doesn't black out or anything. Same thing when you're done. You zip through a little thing through the window, boom, you're immediately swinging around the city. The particle effects are amazing. You can run the entire game in 4K with tons of graphical different features. And then most impressively, after the game came out, they kind of had a graphical feature mode or a ray tracing mode or a 60 frames per second mode. And then they found a way to make a ray tracing performance mode where the game runs at 60 frames still, but also manages to kind of make some sacrifices in other areas, like NPC population, to basically give you ray tracing while you're playing 60 frames per second. It's the best way to play that game. So not only is it super smooth, you have this next-gen lighting system making the game look absolutely amazing. And so Miles Morales is obviously one of my favorite games this year. It's a very short experience compared to the original one, but highly, highly recommend it, especially if you have a PS5. It will get you excited for what is possible for the next-gen games and the developers that are going to be making games for them. So that is my Technical Showcase award. I'm not giving Cyberpunk the award for that. That is hilarious. Cyberpunk was robbed. Von Hunter says, knew it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Miles Morales is good. I'd like the first one better as well, Diggs, but since the other one came out a while ago and they kind of remastered in the new one, I had to give Miles Morales the Technical Showcase. Good choice for sure. Yes, awesome. Yeah, really, really fun game. Anyways, moving forward, our next game is for the best soundtrack. So this, of course, would go to the game that just had music throughout the game. That the way I think about this award was like, what soundtrack did I listen to the most outside of the game? Like, what tracks really resonated with me that, like, as I'm like driving in my car or like working or like, you know, wanting to listen to some good game music, I'm like, oh, I want to listen to this game's music more. And there's really only one clear choice for this one, and that would be, whoops, forgot to do the other one, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And this was one of my early favorite for Game of the Years. It came out very early, I think it was February or March of this year, one of the first big games of the year. And the soundtrack for the first Ori game was already phenomenal. It's one of the best things about the game. And the soundtrack for Ori Will and the Wisps takes the same composer, and they said, hey, do you want to work with the London Philharmonic Orchestra? Great, here, let's fully orchestrate this thing with the greatest orchestra in the world. So you have these amazingly orchestrated themes that are just filled, like they're just dripping with so much emotion. And even though the game is kind of melancholy, has some dark parts to it, you always kind of have these little shots of inspiration throughout there that just want to make you like cry. You're listening to it. It's so beautiful. So if you haven't played the game, obviously recommend playing the game, but at least go check out a couple of the tracks on the official soundtrack and just like be amazed at how beautiful the score for this game is. And I do have to say, because I know Doom guys out there in the chat, Doom Eternal is probably my runner-up in this category because Doom Eternal's like rock, dubstep, like just hardcore music just fits so well with the action of that game. And that is probably another soundtrack I probably listen to the most besides Ori. So that is kind of my honorable mention. Lost Connection After Miles. So we just gave out. We did not give Doom Best Soundtrack. It was runner-up for that category. We gave it to Ori, Will, and the Wisps. It's not super long, but I listened to outside of the game a fair amount. Yeah, Nate the Great totally agrees with me there. Diggs was hoping, I think, for Doom for that one there. Looks like Nathan says Hades or Ghost of Tsushima would be. Yeah, both of those games as well. Totally loved both of those soundtracks. Those are two of the best soundtracks as well. Hades is really good because it has so many different themes. And then Ghost of Tsushima just feels like so authentic in a soundtrack. Like you could tell they like got people who played these like Japanese instruments and played all these, songs that really fit the setting of the game. So it was really, really good. All right. Next award goes for the best community game. So this was the game that I enjoyed playing the most with you guys, the community. And this one was really a toss-up between, three or four games. And you guys know if you've been following my channel in, the games we play together as a group. But ultimately, even though it technically didn't come out this year, I have to give the best community game to Among Us. Because let's be real, none of us knew Among Us existed until it blew up this summer. So I feel okay giving Among Us this award for best community game. I just can't believe it came out of nowhere and it looked so weird at first. Is it just like Mafia? And then once we actually started playing it, understanding the rules, I felt like we had so many nights where we just played this game for 2, 3, 4 hours. Multiple nights in a row or every single weekend for a while. And every time we play it, even if we take a break, we go back into playing Among Us. It still is so much fun with the voice chat and the different rules and things that we've all come up with. So I have to give Among Us best community game. I think my honorable mentions would be either Fall Guys and probably Rocket League and Smash Bros. But again, Fall Guys is really the only 2020 award, but I gave that best an award already. So I felt okay giving Among Us the award for this one here. Special thanks to Peachy Keen for introducing us. Yes, Among Us is great, especially with Peachy. Peachy's always super sus, but she's super, super fun. Diggs says he knew Among Us existed. Hipster Diggs. Yeah, very simple to play. Anyone can jump in and play it. I'm looking forward to being able to gather together with my giant family and have us all play together in the same room. It'll be fun. All right, moving forward, the next game. Our next award that I'm going to be giving an award to will be for the best VR game. I always like to recognize the best VR game every year because I do think VR is really cool and the technology is advancing more and more developers and publishers are really kind of starting to invest more into it since it's growing so quickly. And VR is becoming pretty quickly mainstream with how cheap good VR headsets have gotten over the years. And I think out of all the VR games that came out this year and, that I had the chance to play, there's really only one clear choice for this award, and that would be Iron Man VR. And so this game came out in July. I actually got it for my birthday. And the way that it gives you full 360 control to fly around complete giant open areas in cities, in Malibu. You have multiple different combat options. You can upgrade Iron Man's different wrist rockets and repulsors to have different moves. You can punch and fly through the air. And just the controls in it it's one of the first VR games that has a lot of different movement options and different weapons and attacks that you don't feel like you're fighting the controls, because that's something very common, especially with the PSVR, since it's not as good as some of the other VR headsets. Is the tracking can be a little bit off, or the move controllers are kind of wonky. But using the moves in this game, you can tell Sony put a lot of money into this game to really make sure that they had the time, development time that they needed to really make sure it was a smooth experience. And so, really the era of Marvel games, finding these really good studios to find to make these great games has been awesome so far. With obviously the Spider-Man games, we have Iron Man. And even though Avengers has its problems, I'm hopeful for the future of that game as well. So Iron Man VR, I think, is definitely the best VR game this year. Good thing there are no PC elitists in the stream. Exactly. I didn't play any PC games except for Among Us this year. And Doom Guy says he was guessing Squadrons for best VR game. 0 Hour for best VR game. That is another great VR game. But I definitely enjoyed my time with Iron Man more than I did 0 Hour. Really recommend it. Picking up one of the best single player experiences you can get on PlayStation VR. And I haven't got to play Squadrons in VR yet because Sony hasn't sent me my dang PS5 VR compatible converter cord. So I have Squadrons. I'm playing it on my PS5, but I can't play it on VR yet. Thanks, Sony. So that is the best VR game, Iron Man VR. All right, moving forward. Our next award, I don't know what award number this is, like maybe number 8 or something like that, is for the best co-op game. And so obviously this award speaks for itself. This is the best game to play with other people in the room with you. And so the best co-op game has to go to Moving Out. So this is a smaller indie game that I think a lot of people missed because it kind of came out at a weird time where I think there was a lot of games coming out in the first half of this year. But the good news is I was already really interested in it. I played a demo on the Switch eShop, and it actually came out on Xbox Game Pass. And so me and my wife checked it out on Xbox, and we really loved it. We played through pretty much the whole entire game. And it almost is kind of like if you really like Overcooked, you would like this game. It's like a slightly less frantic version of Overcooked, where instead of having to cook things and deliver them, you are going into houses and warehouses and pools in different areas, and you're just basically just grabbing furniture, chucking them across the lawn, flying through windows, slapping each other, and then trying to like Tetris puzzle piece things to stack them all in your moving van. It can be played with up to 4 people. It sadly does not have any online co-op, which is why I said, best local co-op game is really the only way and, to experience this game. But fantastic experience if you are looking for a great co-op game to play with a significant other or brothers or sisters or something. This is a great one. Anyone can play it. There's like 2 buttons to control in the game, so pretty easy controls to work with, and highly recommend it to anyone who likes Overcooked for sure. That is kind of a good litmus test. If you liked Overcooked, you'll love Moving Out. Yeah, Dig says he really enjoyed Moving Out. Nathan Great said he played the demo but didn't end up getting it. Time to change my hat. Thank you, Diggs. So yeah, Moving Out is the best co-op game. Definitely recommend it if you're looking for a good co-op, as well as Part-Time UFO. That game is also great. All right, our next award goes for the best remaster or remake. So this could be a game that was either like a full-blown like kind of remake, or it could be a game that kind of got ported and remastered and upgraded with graphical enhancements. And so this award this year, 2020, I know is one of the most hyped remakes or remasters of all time. It finally came out. We'd all been waiting for it. We all had hoped that it was going to happen someday. And it finally happened. And it came out in 2020. And it was one of the best games of the year. Everyone loved it. It is amazing to play on PlayStation. That's right. I'm talking not about Final Fantasy VII. Don't even think about it. Final Fantasy VII is not it. It is Spider-Man for PlayStation 5. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Help leading all the Final Fantasy fans on. No, I have not played Final Fantasy VII. I did not plan playing that game. But we are going to be playing Spider-Man on a future stream again because it runs amazing on the PS5. It looks beautiful. It runs so smoothly. Like I said with Miles Morales, they have a performance ray tracing mode, and this was really the only remake/remaster that I played a ton of this year. The only other ones I really played a bunch of was the Mario 3D collection, which, if we're being honest, that's one of the worst remakes or ports or remasters of all time because they didn't remake anything. They didn't remaster anything. They just put them out in the Switch. But I'm really impressed, and I'm actually enjoying playing through it again. You can transfer your save file from the original PS4 version as well. So if you're like me and you had a New Game Plus that you never ended up finishing, you can do that now. There's some new trophies to collect, and it is it is a fantastic game. I don't think you can buy it standalone yet, which is really weird. So I think Sony will put it out in the store eventually for $20. But you can get it for $20 extra if you own Miles Morales, which is awesome. And yes, I'm totally a Final Fantasy hater. You can call me that as much as you want. That does not bother me. I'm very proud of that. Diggs, I think I pranked Diggs out. I think that's good. So yeah, they remastered it. It's not like a full remake, but they basically remastered it. They changed the character models. They added in, all the new PS5 graphical features, DualSense features. Really, really, really awesome on the PS5. All right, moving forward. Our next award is one of my favorite awards for the best campaign. As much as I love playing multiplayer games and playing games online with friends and people online, a good campaign is always something that I can appreciate. There's so many great single-player games that come out every single year, so this is actually really, really hard award to give out. But the best campaign that really stood out for me from beginning to end, just being, up here the entire campaign, just a phenomenal ride from start to finish, has to be Doom Eternal. And so Doom Eternal was the first Doom game that I actually bought on launch. Did not grow up a Doom fan. This is not nostalgia speaking at all. I picked up Doom 2016 after my good friend Doom Guy, who's in the chat probably celebrating right now, kind of introduced me to it. I picked it up on sale a year or two, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And then I actually got really excited for Doom Eternal. It looked really, really good. And I do not regret getting it at launch at all. It was an amazing campaign from the start to the finish. You can debate whether or not this was better than the 2016 Doom. It's kind of, I feel like split 50-50 between, Doom fans. But it's just amazing how they have remade and reinvigorated Doom for the current gen. Like I said, it runs absolutely amazing on the PS4 Pro. It runs 60 frames per second in 4K. Just is super smooth. The gameplay is fast and furious. You get chainsaw the entire campaign, and then there's so many different new weapons and upgrades you can get throughout the entire game, including the Crucible, a giant sword. And then the final boss fight was amazing as well. And so lots of fun to be had in the campaign for Doom Eternal. Highly recommend it. It is on Xbox Game Pass now, so if you haven't got a chance to play it, you have Xbox, check it out on there. And I think you can get the base game for like $15-20 now. Goes on sale pretty often as well. So Doom Eternal is definitely my favorite campaign of the year. I've played through it, I think at least 2.5 times, which is really good. Nate the Great says his favorite was Ghost of Tsushima, Saints and Sinners. I don't think I played that game. But yes, Doom VFR and Doom 2016 was your favorite Doom. Yeah, so the Doom VR game is actually really fun. I got it with my VR headset, and it's pretty much just a VR remake of the 2016 game, which is really fun. Hey, welcome, Grandpa Eli! Woo, woo. He's here. Welcome, Grandpa Eli. He is here for the award show. See, that's what I wanted to do, award show. It brings everyone in. This is like a big community event. Even Grandpa Eli is here to talk about his favorite games of the year with us. So let us know, Eli, what is your favorite campaign that you played this year in a video game? I will get to those hydrates as soon as we finish our awards here, Diggs. I see you there. All right, moving forward. We are finally here towards the end of our award show, where we are going to be giving out our Game of the Year awards. So, I have my personal Game of the Year award, of course, but you guys spoke. You voted on your own community Game of the Year, and it was a very tight race. For a while, I wasn't sure if we were going to have a winner, because we had I think we had 6 or 7 votes. Everyone voted for a different thing, which shows what great of a year it was. Everyone had something that, totally was their jam, right? And so our community Game of the Year, as voted on you guys, our community, the game that got the most votes in our winner, has to go to, drum roll please. I should have the drum roll sound effect ready. Ghost of Tsushima. That is our community Game of the Year, and I'm so excited to finish playing this game because I didn't start playing it till December, middle of December, and so I'm still working my way through this game. But based on this, now that you guys are getting the Game of the Year award, I am just so excited to see how this game ends and just explore as much as I can of the game and just keep on furthering my abilities and exploring the combat more, finding the different outfits and just exploring in the story. It's just insanely well crafted. You can just tell that Sucker Punch really took their time with this game. And so if you guys voted or played Ghost of Tsushima, drop your comments down below. Let me know, what is it about Ghost of Tsushima that you really like the most? What makes it a Game of the Year candidate for you? I would love to read out some of your guys' thoughts. Because again, like I said, it has the best open world. It's such a fun world to explore. And you keep just wanting to just kind of go It's kind of like you just kind of want to see what's over the mountaintop. Or you just want to see, oh, what's this little question mark on my map? And then instead of having a waypoint system that has, big arrows pointing you which way to go, the UI is incredibly clean. It's very, very minimal, so you can just enjoy the beauty of the world. And then it has this guiding wind mechanic where the wind just kind of blows wherever your next mission is, or if you put a waypoint on your map, it kind of blows gently through, and the petals and things will go through it. And you can just tell it's a very authentic game to what it being set in Japan, and Sucker Punch really took their time. And it's actually, I think that one of the highest praise that I saw for this game online was that Japan's biggest gaming magazine, the Famitsu, gave their game of the year to Ghost of Tsushima, which is amazing because this is developed by a Western studio here in the Seattle area. And here you have the biggest critics in Japan saying this is the best game of the year. Like, typically the Famitsu only gives the award out to Japanese developed games, and so for a Western developer to make a game set in Japan and have it be so just honor and respect that culture and just represent it so well and accurately. You can even play the entire game in black and white, so it looks like an old Japanese samurai movie, and you can play the entire game with Japanese subtitles, which I've been really enjoying playing it through that way as well. So really, really good choice. So I'm glad I approve of your guys' Community Game of the Year choice. So let me get to some of your guys' comments here. Game of the Year, huzzah! Oh yes, and the multiplayer. I haven't even dipped it in the multiplayer. Horizon keeps telling me that the multiplayer is going to blow me away. I'm kind of wanting to finish the single player before I get into there because I kind of want to prioritize. I want to make sure I actually finish the campaign. But from what I've seen, I've watched some streams of the Legends mode. It looks really, really cool. And it was a completely free multiplayer update that most people weren't expecting. I think that's why the game is still listed as $40 or above. It hasn't really hit that bargain Sony price that most Sony games hit within 6 months. Oh, JC, welcome to the stream. He said did not play, but seems very underrated. I'd agree. I think it came out right around the same time as Last of Us, which made a lot of PlayStation fans kind of miss it. And it came out in that weird kind of start of summer time. But Nate the Great says, I love the combat and the sense of exploration it gives. Plus the characters have awesome side stories and it's absolutely gorgeous. Yep, totally agree with all those points. I typically don't do tons of side quests in big open world games like that unless I'm really into the game. But Ghost, I'm totally like, I just want to go help all these people keep continuing these side quests because they're so interesting. Like you're following these just different kind of rumors that you hear around the island and you go investigate them. It's really, really fun. And yeah, special cinematic mode is really cool. Haven't touched the multiplayer. Haven't unlocked most of the map. You haven't even the best modes or the most cinematic moments. Horizon, stop making me feel guilty. I'm wanting to play the game. I'm gonna finish it. I just recently got to it, and it's mostly because of your recommendation. So thank you for recommending it. All right. Well, I think it is finally time. The end of the show. Thank you to all of the nominees for coming out this year. Special shout out to all of the studios. I played so many great indie games this year. It was hard not to just do like a best. I had to get rid of the best indie game category because there's been so many good indie games. And I think I was gonna give an award for like maybe best handheld game even, or best game to play on the go, because I've been playing Dicey Dungeons on the go a ton. And it's been so fun because you can just play on the touchscreen and just move the dice around really quickly. And you can even take the controllers off the Switch, so you use almost like a little tablet. Really fun way to play that game if you have Dicey Dungeons. But anyways, enough is enough. I think I have some music queued up here. So last we have our Game of the Year award, which is, I guess I should be saying my Game of the Year award. So this game wasn't really on my radar before this year started, and it came out, and it is by far the best experience that I have had this year. And this is the game that if you don't have this game, if I could recommend one game for 2020, this is the game that I would recommend. And the Game of the Year from me, Ninja Penguin 1, has to go to Hades. So hopefully the music's coming in right there. I just have it set on the main menu there for you guys. I don't think it is coming in. But Hades is by far the best game that I played this year. It's made by Supergiant Games. They did an amazing job with every aspect of this game. This game had my favorite story this year. They finally cracked the code of making like a roguelike game that had a good story. Typically games where you replay and you die and you go over and over, the stories don't really matter. There's a little bit of lore and might be kind of interesting. But the story in this game is so incredible. Like the first time I got my first clear and saw kind of what happened in the story, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to keep playing and see what happens next. And even when you die, it's not like, oh, I died. Like it keeps you wanting to go because you get to have all these conversations in the House of Hades with all the different characters. The music is amazing. The amazing art for all the different goddesses and gods is just so well done. Like the characters are so diverse. Has the best voice acting out of any game that I played this year. And then gameplay is obviously king. And so if the gameplay wasn't good, I couldn't give it game of the year. But the gameplay is so smooth and fluid. It's like basically if you took like Enter the Gungeon and mixed it with like Diablo, and just like you have so many different options in your combat, and every run is so different with the different boons you get. And then even though there's 6 different weapons, you can customize each of those weapons with up to 4 different aspects. So really it like, you know, quadruples it, makes it more like 24 different weapons, and then you stack all the different variants and hammers, and it's just so good. There's so many great things about this game, and we're gonna jump into playing this game here right now. So if you haven't seen Hades yet, I'm giving you a chance to ask me any questions about the game. You can check out. I don't want to say high level gameplay, but I have cleared the game 14 times now. I'm on a 7-game clear streak, which is my encouragement to you guys who haven't gotten to that 10th clear yet. Totally go for that 10th clear so you can see the story resolve up. And there is tons of story going on afterwards. So like the amount of dialogue in this game is incredible. It's all fully voice acted, and every single time you run, there isn't a single line of repeated dialogue when you're interacting with characters. And there's just so many different options and branching storylines. The gameplay mechanics are just so well thought out. So Hades is my game of the year for 2020. I've always been a fan of Supergiant games, but man, I was not expecting Hades to be as good as it was. So let's go ahead and get to some of your guys' comments. Here we go. This is incredible. JC is appreciating it. Oh, I did not ban it, Horizon. Oh, thanks for the special shout out, Diggs. But yes, Supergiant Games does make such good games. PG says Hades. Nathan and Horizon are acting shocked. I've talked to them so much about Hades, they kind of knew this was coming. But yeah, the weapon variety does keep it super fresh. And like any good roguelike, you have to have lots of different good power-ups and variations to mix up throughout your runs that makes every run super unique, where you can just have these crazy OP builds that you're never going to get exactly the same again. Give us Dionysus. Yes, all the different gods are so great. Dionysus is probably my favorite as well. Anyways,